We are live. This is Travis Witherspoon from Carter Cow Capital, helping you fight for your financial freedom throughout the overall Forex market and this markets in general. Hope everybody's doing very well on this Monday evening as we go through and take a look at some of the overall pairs and being able to see if there's any type of trading activity that we can possibly be able to get into. So super excited to be able to talk to everybody. We're going to make sure that everyone can be able to see the actual screen first for as far as the red brand. But before we end up getting started, got to be able to go through the disclaimer. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and get through the disclaimer real quick before I end up making sure that everything else is put together, and then after that, we'll kind of go from there. Where's my screen? Here. Okay. Here we go. I am not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from that education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. Now, understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money, also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you can end up making money today. So as we go through and be able to get everything situated, I'm going to show myself on the screen as soon as I can be able to get everyone to be able to see everything else that I'm posting up. So just give me one quick second. I promise you I'll make it very quick. Just want to make sure that everybody can be able to see it. And I show myself on the screen and everything else like that. But while I'm doing that, for the people, first-time watchers, long-term watchers, and everybody else like that, everybody that's been rocking with me for a long time, super excited to be able to talk to each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for being able to pop in. What we're going to end up doing here is a 30-minute session, being able to look at some trading activity that ended up happening earlier today and being able to see if there's any more activity that we can be able to possibly jump into. We end up getting those opportunities. Then after that, we'll go from there. Okay, so give me one quick second. I just want to make sure that for some reason it's not showing up as spot or seamless as I want to. So I want to get that out the way. Video details. Go back. Let's see, night session. Okay, that was it. Night session. Okay. Okay, there we go. I see. Paste. I see. Join. Copy and paste. And lastly, template. Enter tags. I don't feel like I'm doing a lot, but there you go. Save. We should be good to go. We should be good to go. Okay, there we go. Bam. Okay, there we go. Hope everybody's doing very well. It ended up taking about 3 minutes to be able to do that. What's going on, Steve? Hope everything's going well with you. Appreciate it for hitting that boost button. I do appreciate that. Everybody that is watching live, thank you for being able to pop in. I certainly do appreciate it. This morning was a quick it was like a 15-minute session. I just wanted to make sure that we can be able to go through the main pairs that we end up taking a look at. I think I ended up saying on Friday after if we were going to end up getting substantial movement, then we probably weren't going to necessarily get that much of a trading opportunity today. So inside of the chat box, anybody that end up taking a trade today, whether a green day or a red day for you, let's start off with that. Whether the green day or a red day for you. For me, it was neutral. I didn't take any trades today, so kind of stayed out of the market. Wanted to see how the market was going to end up reacting. Wanted to see how the market was going to end up building up the actual consolidation before being able to jump inside of any moves when it came down to today. Also, while I'm going through and being able to do this, super excited to be able to talk about what we're doing with the Discord and being able to place up everything. What's going on, Block? Hope everything's going well with you. Want to be able to talk about what we're doing with the overall Discord and everything else that's going along with it. That first link is the link to be able to get you into the premium section if you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more about that. That is that has everything that we end up encompassing for us. Um, all of the live streams, trading activities. I mean, not trading activities. Expert advisors, indicators, trading signals. Um, all of the ebooks and everything else that you can be able to get your hands on today. I would like everybody, please make sure that you end up popping in when it comes down to that. Block, you end up saying that you had a green day. Steve said he ended up having a red day. Uh, okay, end up being a red day. Cut all the shorts in crypto. Well, shoot, that's your wheelhouse anyway. Did your EA catch it or did you catch that manually? Did the grid catch it or did your EA catch it? Curious in being able to know. Uh, we knew that was going to end up coming at some point in time, or knew shorts were going to end up happening at some point in time. We'll take a look at what's happening with Bitcoin. We'll take a look at uh, best trade day of the month so far. There we go. Remember, October is typically push month. It's time to be able to make some money off of those movements. All right, so here we go. Earlier today, we end up having Fed Evans speak. We end up having Fed Bernard speak. Never heard of him. Then after that, there was an IMF meeting. Today was a traders day, fully and truly, and it was just basically just a recap or just I guess a relaxation day based off of what non-farm payroll ended up showing. So going into tomorrow or going into later on tonight, we're going to end up having unemployment rate from the pound. That's basically the equivalent to non-farm payroll for the United States dollar. We're going to end up having the Swiss franc. Chairman Jordan end up speaking, and then after that, we're going to have Governor Bailey end up speaking at 2:35. So the pounds are going to end up being truly represented on how the market's going to end up reacting later on today. That is the only pair that I would truly kind of pay attention to. Swiss franc, typically when they have news, it is kind of important. So I would pay attention to that as well if you're going to end up being up. Might have to dump one of my hopefuls tomorrow if it dumps on me again. Are we talking about cryptocurrency or are we talking about stocks in this case, Steve? Are you still in that? Are you still in that CRTX? I believe it was something like that. Just a random question. Oh, lithium stock. Okay, we'll take a look at it. Place it inside of the chat, and we'll take a look and see what we have when it comes down to those movements. All right, so here we go. Oh, CNTX. Oh, CNXT. Yeah, I remember we ended up taking a look at that one time before. Okay, so here we go. Going with the big three. And everybody else, go ahead and place in your pairs. We'll go ahead and talk about those as well. United States dollar index, what are we seeing? From a weekly perspective, we end up having the market end up showing that it was um, earlier last week showed that it was going to end up being a chance that the market could give us an evening star when it came down to movement. And essentially what ended up happening at the end of the week, the market ended up having a strong bullish push off of retesting off of this consolidation that we end up seeing. Currently, right now, the market has not broke above the high, so the market is still considered to me to where it is at a point to where it's just retesting this overall candlestick formation or this indecision candlestick formation before ultimately being able to fall down. I still believe that the United States dollar is primed to be able to make a movement to the downside. The question is, what is going to end up being the catalyst to be able to ensure that the market will fall down to the downside? Currently, right now, I'm seeing a rising wedge. I don't know if y'all can be able to notice that, but if I'm looking at this and seeing how these candlesticks are actually kind of putting together, I can be able to see a little bit of a rising wedge kind of forming up on the daily. The daily is at 44%, so that means that it's still basically in a no trade zone or a no trade area when it comes down to movement. I'll wait for a counter trend line break based off the 2 hour before being able to do anything else like that. But as I stated before, if I'm taking a look at what I'm seeing off of this, I'm not going to call it I probably won't call it a rising wedge, but I will say it's a channel. Well, no, we can actually, I'm still going to call it a channel based off this. Rising wedge typically ends up getting to a point, and then once you see that it really starts to die down, then it will really fall off a cliff. And currently right now, well, no, let's do this. If we end up doing that and do it like this, there goes your rising wedge. Type in a Y yes if you can be able to see that. Type in a Y yes if you agree with me on that's a rising wedge. And if so, then that means that we're basically at the edge of it, and we're seeing that the market is starting to fall down from that, or potentially could start to fall down from that going into the morning time when it comes down to that movement. Am I seeing something different compared to what you're seeing? That would be my question. We end up talking about how this market could move up to the halfway point at 13,490, and then after that start to make a little bit of a U-turn. So there it is right there. Market could potentially fall all the way down to 13,275 first, and then after that continue being able to make a movement to the downside overall. So I would like to be able to see what this downward field looks like before being able to make a decision. The A the A has been broken on that second fib. That makes it kind of hard to be able to say that this market is truly ready to be able to fall down, because typically if the A is broken from a Fibonacci perspective, then you will end up seeing that the market will continue being able to move up. Yeah, it may have a little bit of a retracement, but what it will end up making is a king's crown to the upside compared to the downside when it comes down to that movement. So it essentially looks something like this. There goes your A, there goes your B, there goes your C. Here's your D extension. Then after that, there goes your broken A, broken B. Broken B will end up being somewhere around here. And then after that, you have a movement, something like that. So I do think ultimately this market could potentially end up falling. And kind of like what we end up talking about, I think it was with what was it? I think oil. When we end up talking about, it was a bearish candlestick formation that we could be able to see, a bearish king's crown. I'm seeing the same thing for us, a bullish king's crown that could potentially happen. So this market will have to fall down first before being able to pop up. The weekly's in the sell zone, the daily's not necessarily there. It wouldn't surprise me if the market does decide to be able to start falling down a little bit before being able to make any type of movement. Okay, so currently right now, I would say that I believe that the market is going to end up falling. There is a rising wedge. The market has broken the counter trend line break. I do think that this market could potentially end up falling. I think it could fall down somewhere close to that area right there first, 13,360, before being able to go from there. Uh, yeah, this is something that I ended up learning when I was doing all my training with MTI, and the guys over there, they absolutely love this formation. It's kind of like a king. It's kind of like a head and shoulders pattern, but King's Crown formation is based off of a broken A. So based off of a broken Fibonacci. And once that broken Fibonacci is set up, then the next movement off of that is the most explosive movement that you'll be able to get, because it's basically showing a U-turn. There's a King's Crown in pretty much every U-turn that you end up seeing, a fractal low or fractal high. We just never really pay attention to it. Just really never pay attention to it. Oh, there was a fly that came inside that got right beside me. Oh, sorry about that. We called it a Bart Simpson. Okay, nice. Um, First time ever hearing that. All right, let's go. U.S. oil. U.S. oil. I swear, if I am not good, I don't know what I am in this particular point. We've been talking about this one. Been talking about this one for a while. Oil. Remember, the biggest thing that I ended up saying when it came down to oil was that I believe that, what's going on, Roger? Hope everything's going well. Green day or red day today? Green day or red day? We end up talking about how this market ended up breaking the counter trend line break, and I felt like it was going to end up going up to 94.50, 94.60, right around that overall area, based off of breaking out of this channel to the downside. Remember, October is a push month. October is the start of the cold months. October is the start of where people start really trying to use oil to be able to heat up homes and everything else like that. So supply and demand is very important when it comes down to that movement. We take a look at this from a daily perspective. We end up getting a true counter trend line break currently right now. We're still kind of pushing up. We're getting close to being able to hit that 94.50 mark. But I end up talking about in general from an hourly perspective. I said that there was two different positions that you could be able to get out of before trying to push it all the way up to that 94.59 area. The first one was at 89.63. I end up saying once this consolidation end up breaking out again, then I will look at being able to get in right around that 88.52 area. We end up taking the first wave. I think we end up taking the first wave from 82.56 to 87. Then after that, the second wave from 88.52 to 89. And then after that, looking at being able to take it all the way up to 94.59. Now, there was a solid retracement on this movement currently right now. The hour is in the buy zone. I would pay attention to a counter trend line break if you can be able to get it, in which that's what we have right now. Um, I would be interested in being able to add on to this trade or being able to jump into it with the expectation that the market could finish that last leg at 94.59 overall. I want to take a look at what's happening with the Canadian dollar first to be able to kind of get a better idea about what's happening with that. But I would say that ultimately, the one thing that would kind of make me shy away from being able to continue trying to trade this all the way up to the upside is that we're clearly in the sell zone. Um, yeah, we're definitely clearly in the sell zone. So that would be my only kind of pause for its overall movement. You can call this a double top if you want to. We had this first movement. There goes your first top. There goes your second top right there, and the market ended up dropping. Typically, once that happens, you'll end up having a retest of this overall movement. Unless the market can be able to break those highs, then we'll see that the market will kind of reject based off of this area and start to be able to fall and have a true retracement. But um, even with that being said, from where we end up getting in right around that $80 area, this is still a very solid move overall. You're interested in being able to get in. Currently, the market right now is at 91.14. If I look at being able to place my stop anywhere, I'll place my stop below that 88 area where we first initially end up getting in, which will be past resistance and future support. Risking 25 points to be able to go after right around 35 points when it comes down to that movement. Currently, right now, I don't know if I'm going to take this one yet, but something to be able to definitely pay attention to. I don't know if I'm going to look at being able to add on, kind of entrenched inside of my positions. I'll think about it. Give me a why, yes, if you're interested in being able to jump in on this one. You are, then let's take a look at it. There's a counter trend line break. There's a engulfing candlestick. Currently, right now, it's 917. So we'll see how the market kind of reacts off of it. The 1 hour is in the buy zone. My thing is that you probably just have to run a trail stop very tight to be able to get the most out of it. Also, end up seeing the oil prices end up going up as well. So let me see. Should I come back to this one? I'll take a chance. I'll take a chance on it. Here we go. I'm going to lower my percentage risk because currently, right now, we are in a position to where uh, this could be just a retest and a fall. So please keep that in mind. The market could potentially, if I automatically said that, then that makes me question if I should jump in. Okay, I'm not jumping in. If I have to think about it like that, I'm not going to jump in. There was a consolidation. Consolidation failed to the downside. What could possibly end up happening is this market could go here, retest of this movement, and then rejection, and then after that start to fall. If I have to second guess it like that, there's no reason for me to throw money into it. I don't know if y'all have that same type of feeling, but anytime that I look at a trade, I'm looking at reasons why not to get into the trade, not necessarily reasons to get in the trade before making a move. So I'm gonna pause on that one. I'm not gonna end up taking that movement. Go ahead and take a look at that real quick. So going back to what we ended up saying with gold a little bit earlier, I ended up saying that market had a strong consolidation from that 2070 as being a resistance to 1685 as being the actual support. From there, we end up looking at it from a daily perspective. We end up seeing that the market fell back inside of this consolidation. It retested this overall area and finally has broken down to the downside. So we're basically back inside of that vortex area that we were talking about before, where we end up taking that first initial trade from the 1681 area all the way down to 1615. And currently, right now, as we're looking at this as we speak, the daily is in the sell zone. We're currently at 68%. So there is some other movement that we could be able to see. We've had 4 days of overall downside movement. But kind of going back to what I said with the United States dollar, the United States dollar is in a position to where I think it's looking at being able to retest that movement first before being able to truly make a decision on what it's going to end up doing. So jumping into this one is I probably wouldn't. I probably would stay away from it as well before being able to make anything. I don't like what I see with this one, especially on a Tuesday where the United States dollar is definitely in the sell zone. We should see that the market could potentially fall. That means that the market could potentially go up on gold. So I'm going to stay away from that one as well. Not interested on that one either. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening with Bitcoin. I want to see those drops that everybody was talking about. Once again, this is one of those days where I did not look at the market. So Bitcoin from a daily perspective, I'm just talking long-term movement currently right now. We end up having that big movement at 65,000. The market ended up having a support at 29,000. It broke down from 29,000, went all the way down to 17, and then from there the market has been in consolidation. Now I've said this before: if the market ends up breaking below 18,240 and shows a natural drop, then the next area where the market could potentially go down to could be all the way down to right around that $10,000 area. That $10,000 area is the de-extension of this movement to the downside. Now, with that being said, this is twofold. If you're looking at this as a long-term hold type of position, then that long-term hold position, I would look at being able to start getting in right around that 11,000 area, 11,000 and 12,000 area, and seeing if you can be able to place in a trade right around that 10,900 area as well. Yes, that is a complete ouch when it comes down to that movement, because that means that legitimately we end up having a full almost 100% retracement from the 2020 numbers back in October. And if that happens, then a lot of people are going to end up being upset. You're going to see this thing drop very quickly, especially if it breaks below that 15,000 area. So that is the one thing that I am kind of curious about as a person that is interested in being able to add in more and has taken out most of his positions on most of my cryptocurrency positions this overall. So 18,240 is the area where the market falls. It's going to fall fast, and it's going to keep on going. So if you're a person who likes being able to trade just like an equity or anything else like that with margin, then I would look at being able to place my order right around that area, looking for the market to be able to fall down to at least 12,000 before being able to make a move. Okay, I got 30% on my bags in USD in case of a flash drop. Are you talking about Tether? Or you got it in Tether, or you just got it, or you just right now you're in cash and you're liquid, ready to go? Are you saying you're liquid and ready to go, or are you just saying that you're in Tether? Now, with that being said, 18,240 could end up being a natural support as well. Okay, gotcha. 18,240 is a natural support as well. So the market has found areas where it has held as support. But once again, kind of going back to what I ended up saying before, that the United States dollar on the weekly is in the sell zone. The daily will end up being in the sell zone in the next few days as well. That will be considered to be a transition trade. If you understand what a transition trade is, that means that you have at least 3 to 4 months of overall downside movement that could potentially end up happening based off of where it actually is. So that means that if that's going to end up being the case, any type of catalyst for bad news will end up making the United States, any type of catalyst for bad news will end up making the market kind of falter to the downside and make this kind of move as well, especially if that's going to end up affecting Bitcoin. Now, I haven't heard that much good news about Bitcoin either at this particular point, but the United States dollar will probably end up pushing it down a little bit more compared to what Bitcoin will end up doing just overall. Ethereum, let's see what's going on with Ethereum. Steve, do you want me to take a look at silver while I'm still on Smart Trader? Okay, so Ethereum still has a chance to be able to go ahead and hit that 720 number. The market has broken below the counter trend line. The market is showing a little bit of a wedge. A little bit of a triangle at this particular point. Silver is different, but not mine. Let's see. Since you're on crypto, what's your thoughts on pro? I'll take a look at it. Currently, right now, we're in a position. I'm going to consider that support right there. We're in a decision area. We're definitely in a decision area. Uh, that really makes me think that Bitcoin move could be a significant move. Is there anything block? Is there anything on the horizon when it comes down to like important crypto news, like a Fed news, or like something else that the government is going to end up talking about that you may know? Okay, Bitcoin odds textbook bottom at 16,000. Well, da. Okay, I don't see anything yet. I don't see anything that would make me kind of jump at it. Um, okay, so overall, seeing a wedge on Ethereum. Once again, 720 will end up being a take profit if the market does fall. If you're looking at being able to short it, entry will end up being based off of the counter trend line break or based off of the break out of the wedge. Stop loss will end up being just above the overall high of the previous wedge. I would say right around 1430. If you're being kind of safe when it comes down to that movement, entry will end up being based off of the break because the primary move has been to the downside, and because of everything else that has been to the downside, I would kind of assume that we could see this market kind of fall. Now, problem with that is that we're going based off of going based off of the vortex strategy. That's a consolidation move. This was the breakout of this overall area right here. Um, and since then, the market ended up creating another consolidation area right here. So it basically kind of wedged into the middle. The market is going to have to make a decision, and whatever decision it's going to end up making is going to end up breaking one of those consolidation boxes. If it's to the downside, it's definitely going to crash below $1,000 if that happens. I just read XRP lines on main catalyst right now because of the later grounds of what cryptos are securities. Yeah, well, cryptocurrency's been trying to fight for that for a while. Well, companies have been trying to fight for that for a while. Let's see. Everybody, give me one quick second. All right, sorry about that. All right, so take a look at Pro. Let's see what's going on with Pro. Then after that, we get into the indexes. Pro, nope. Let's see. Is it Pro USD? Try Pro P. Okay, US dollar. We'll take a look at what's happening with Columbia. What in the blue heck is that? Oh wow. Okay, let's see. Get off the daily because what is that? A whole bunch of microtransactions. That's what it is. Okay, so we have to go as, huh? Let me see if I can find it off of something else. Okay. It probably looks like that because going back to what I ended up saying before, it's probably a lot of microtransactions. Because it does look like that, it's probably hard to be able to see what it kind of goes from. So what I'm going to do is use even a line chart doesn't look well on this one. But what I can do is this. What I can see is this. Before I even kind of jump into that, do you notice that? Do you notice that there is consolidation right here? You can see a natural support. You see a natural resistance. Currently, right now, the market's in the middle of it. Right. So call it what you want. The market's still in support, just like what's happening with every other cryptocurrency pair at this particular point. Once the market breaks above 60 cents, then I have the opportunity to be able to go where? Let's see, where could it go? Market could be able to go up to 61 without much of hesitation. Um, then after that, I have a little bit of problems trying to be able to break above that 62 to 63 number. If it breaks above that 62 to 63 number, then after that, we have a huge run that we could possibly see above 63, trying to get back up to the 70 number. Now, if the market falls, are we at all time lows? Yes, we are. Okay. The problem with all time lows at this particular point, here's the problem with all time lows. I don't like shorting if it's an all time low because I never like to sell future low prices. You don't get anything good off of selling future low prices at this particular point. My hope would be that buying it at 58, you could be able to see this thing kind of go up to the upside and then kind of make its movement up to the upside from there. But currently, right now, we're in the middle consolidation and you're trying to be a little bit more conservative to be able to see this thing kind of move and you're trying to do it like an equity that I would say get in at 60 cent. If you're trying to use this as a way of the long-term hold, anywhere 58, 59 would be a good position. Currently right now we're in the middle of this thing, so going to wait it out a little bit. We've been in the middle of it for the last 6 days at this particular point. Cryptocurrency typically takes a little bit more of a longer time to be able to make a movement out of there. Hopefully that helped when it comes down to that. That's the first time I've seen TradingView do something like that. Yeah, anything. I mean, it's a long term. If it's a long term hold, then you're talking about it's a pretty good play. I would love to be able to get it around 58 if I could be able to get it. But depending on what depending on what the platform is, what it's trying to do, and everything else like that, I would think about it a little bit more. All right, here we go. Dow Jones. Let's talk about what ended up happening today and kind of where we're at. Yes, on Friday, non-farm payroll came out, had a consolidation. We talked about how the market could be able to fall down to at least the support or past resistance term future support at this position, and if the market was going to be bullish and it was going to end up bouncing off of that area. I said that also if the market falls down inside of this consolidation and breaks the resistance, and it could fall all the way down to the support because we've seen that happen a few times as well, just from a market behavior standpoint. What happened was that the market fell all the way down about 3/4 of that overall position, and earlier today it was a big spike to the upside, a big spike to the downside, then after that, big spike up to the upside, but nothing more than consolidation overall. So here's the play. I think that there's more consolidation on the midst of being able to show up. We have not hit the support. We have not hit the support enough for me to be able to say, okay, well, I'm truly comfortable with being able to place in that order yet. Because we're in the middle of this overall position, I would like to be able to see what the direction is going to end up being overall going into the night. And then after that, see if the market is going to end up holding at 100. If that does happen, then after that, we can see that this market could fall all the way down to that 520 number that we ended up talking about a little bit earlier. If it does make that movement to the downside, if it pops up to the upside, then it could go back up to 29,890. Now, keep in mind, if the United States dollar gets weak, typically Dow Jones and everything else like that starts to get a little bit stronger just because you get more value. But everything is bearish. Everything has been bearish for a long time at this particular point. So it wouldn't surprise me if this market does fall, then we could see that this market could flush down to this area right here. I still would not do anything with it right now, currently at this point. There's nothing to be able to do. I would not jump in the middle of that consolidation. And there's the middle of that high volume node of consolidation because nothing is set up yet. Okay, so I'm going to stay away from that. Nas, same deal. Market failed, broke below the natural support, went based off of that area. Currently, right now, we're taking a look at this from a daily perspective. I ended up saying earlier this morning that this market next area where it could fall down to is 10,400. 10,400 would be the next area where if the market does break to the downside, that would be where I would look at being able to get out. Daily is in the sell zone. There's a true crossover in the sell zone. This will probably end up being one of the first moves that will happen before truly being able to see everything else kind of play out. So I'm going to call that support right there. I'm going to call that support right there. I'm going to call this resistance right here. Currently, right now, we're in the middle of it. The one thing that I would pay attention to a little bit more is that if you're looking at this high volume node, we see that the high volume node, most of the pricing areas right around where we are right now, that 10,930 area. So if this market does fall, it's going to fall fast right around this area. And then see if it can be able to hold support before ultimately being able to break. If that does happen, then we got about a 500-point drop that could happen from that overall area to the downside. I do like that from that mindset perspective, but I cannot. Hold on, I can't call this. I'm not gonna say can't, but that was consolidation. Market fell, went back, created another consolidation right here. Uh, 10,910 will probably be the area where I'll look at being able to get in safely. Stop loss above that will end up being basically 11,000. Probably end up being 11,000, 11,015, somewhere around there. Let's see. I can risk 130 if we're going up to 10,400. That would be the move that I'll be looking for. Not a bad move to be able to take if the market's ready to go. Because what happens is if it breaks that, then it's breaking these lows as well right here. Question it. We know the daily's in the sell zone. I think we probably should take this one a little bit more seriously. Yeah, I think we probably should take this one a little bit more seriously. I'm getting ready to place an order. I want to see if this market's going to hold this support right here. Hopefully, it's not a fake out. I don't want to go to sleep and wake up and kind of see if this market's going to end up kind of blasting. But I'm going to take an order now. All right. If I'm wrong, I'd rather be wrong early than late. Let's see. How are we going? What are y'all doing? What's going to happen right here? All right. I got in. I got 10,913. 10,913 of the sale. Stop loss. I got 11,000. I'm going to say 11,015. Take profit 10,500 or 10,400. Orders in. See how the market kind of reacts off of that. Let me get back to Nas real quick and let's see if I'm seeing the same thing. It had a quick flash drop. It went from 10,913 to 10,980. I want to see if this market's going to end up holding support. If it does hold support, then after that I might think about it again. But I think it might be worth it. XPX 500. Let's see what's happening with that. Same deal. We got a bigger drop right here. I'm going to call this. I'm going to call that the natural support. They're going to bottom numbers right there. High volume notice telling me that this is the area right here. And that was the breakout of that overall position. Now we're just retesting that overall move. Where could this one go? Okay, so this one is based off of that last move that we talked about where it could go all the way to 3,500. Probably going to take blah, 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 blah. Should I take that seriously? That's 100-point move. What's happening with DAX real quick? Okay, DAX, there's nothing there. XPX, there's something there as long as it holds. NAS, I got to see it hold. I like what I see with XPX 500. Let me see what's the risk versus, well, there's great risk versus reward. Let's not get that twisted. Let's see. We go here, short position, here, here. How much am I risking? 49. Go to the daily. Daily's in the sell zone. I like that. I'm gonna take XPX 500 as well. Stop loss. $36.53. I hope I don't get. I swear I hope I don't get thing on bamboozled in the morning because of this move. That Take profit 3,500. Uh, 15-minute. All right, took the trade on XPX 500 as well. All right, so we got 2 trades in. We'll see how they kind of play out. Because it is the evening. Trying to figure out what trail stop I should place in. Let's see. Okay. So here's my thing, and this is what I typically have been seeing, and I'm gonna leave off with this. We'll stop with this because obviously we don't went almost would be almost an hour once we end up getting to this. Typically, once you end up having a big move based off of some type of news event, if the next day is choppy, then typically doing a session where no one is really kind of paying attention, then that's when the move actually happens. So what I'm saying is this: if there's a lot more energy in this movement to the downside, we will probably end up being rewarded by being able to jump in at this particular point because of that movement. Now, my thing is kind of like what I'm looking at right here. 15-minute, not necessarily in the sell zone, but the question is, when I wake up and look at this in the morning, will this market break below this low right here? The market can be able to break below that low, that little swing area right there, then we have a strong case to be able to say that this market could fall down to the numbers that we want over time. Obviously, I'd be happy about that. But there has to be some other catalyst that's going to make it move like that. Especially with US 30 not moving the way that it should be moving, at least not yet. But okay, there goes US 30 starting to move a little bit. US 30, anything below 29.9, 29.90 will probably end up being the area where I would look at being able to get in. I'm already in 2 different pairs, so I'm not going to take the US 30 trade, even though I may regret that. It'll be something like that to that end. Yeah. So got 2 orders in. I got to see this market kind of make a little bit more of a push to the downside, and hopefully not get faked out on this one, and kind of go from there. What I personally will do, is I'm going to set an alert for myself, basically at this halfway point. Do you have a max position that you enter? No, not really. I just have a max percentage of how much of my account that I would like to be able to use. This is a smaller account, and because I'm not necessarily adding more onto the account, then I don't want to sit up there and force movements if it's not there. If that makes sense. Or force myself on the trades that may not necessarily be there already yet. Now, my thing on this one is going to be very simple. If this market breaks above this overall consolidation area in this next hour or so, and looks like it's going to stay above inside of that box, and then that'd be an early exit for me, uh, especially if it starts to roar up. Um, Typically, when I see this movement like this, I would like to see that the movement will continue to keep on pushing to the downside. I'm going to be patient and give it I'm going to be patient and give it the time that it needs, because it's in a vortex area. But obviously, I want to be aware and kind of give myself a little bit of a chance, or give it a little bit of a chance overall. But I'm not going to be stupid about it either. All right, but got a couple things going good for us on this one. All right, if you like what I end up doing, please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button. Please make sure that you end up uh, liking and following what we're doing for this and every brand that and everything that we end up having for us, all of our social media platforms. Also, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be very transparent. And this is the first time I've been this transparent in general. I ended up creating a Discord channel for everyone to be able to have all of the resources and everything else that they end up needing, so they can be able to maximize their overall trading experience and be able to get the education that they end up needing. Now, I end up adding on a premium section on there where you can be able to have 3 different tiers. We end up having the foundation, we end up having the inner circle, and then after that, we end up having the elite. All 3 packages have something that will end up fitting your overall taste when it comes down to trading and everything else like that. I am a for-profit trader. And I think everyone in here is a for-profit trader, for-profit, and everything else like that. My business is for-profit. I love being able to talk to each and every person when it comes down to being able to help out and all other stuff. The one thing that I end up saying, this in general, is that understand that when I do this, I want to make sure that obviously I can be able to turn around and kind of bring in somewhat of an income. My biggest goal personally, I'm just talking about it in general. I've said this to a lot of people, is that I have been a teacher for the last 8 years. And over the course of the last 8 years, I've had a lot of fun inside of the classroom, but I lose money inside of the classroom by being there. So ultimately, overall goal with Discord, ultimately overall goal with my business that I've had in general for the last 6 years, is to be able to have sustainable income to be able to keep me away from going back the next year. So you like to be able to support and being able to do that with everything that we end up doing for Discord and all the stuff that we end up placing in. Greatly end up being appreciated. Obviously, I'm going to end up doing all of my efforts to make sure that everyone has a quality education, a quality experience, trade signals kind of like this, and everything else that kind of goes along with that. So obviously trying to build a community, trying to build a village of traders that can be able to make money together. If you like what I end up doing, once again, click on that boost button. Do appreciate all the first time listeners and everybody else that ends up popping in. Like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade your plan. I'm going to send this over to the Discord group right now. Everybody, take it easy. Y'all have a good one.